Let's talk about something that's come up a couple of times in the last couple of weeks. It's deer season, it's rifle season, and this has come up at least twice that I know of. So let's make sure it's empty. Okay, it's empty. I know it's hard to see. Trust me, it's empty. Okay. Action screws. They are a problem for some people, and it's because they don't do any preparatory work ahead of time. I do this on all of my rifles. I don't necessarily do it on all of my customers' rifles, but I recommend that they do it, or that they have me do it for them, right? So when I put the action into the stock, I mark my screws, okay? So this is going to go into the action, right? Now I have an optic on this, which is a little backwards, but that optic's been on here for a long time and I know it's sighted in, so I'm going to leave it, right? So this is going to be my bottom metal. I'm going to put this in, right? So I have this rear screw in here. I also have the front action screw in here, okay? Let me move this, make sure it's right. There we go, that's better. Okay, so when I took these off of the original stock, I used my torque wrench and I slowly moved up in amounts until it popped loose. And they both popped loose at 55 inch-pounds. So when I put them into this stock, which it's a new stock, I'm going to have to play with it a little bit to figure out exactly what it likes. But I'm going to start at 55 inch-pounds on both of these. So for all intents and purposes, let's say that at the moment, this is the correct amount in inch-pounds for both of these screws, okay? So you'll notice that there's a little bit of residue on these. The reason being is that these have been mounted previously. I want to make sure that they're clean. I want to make sure that they're dry. I don't want any oil on these. Why? Oil will stop the Loctite from working properly. Okay, so I want to make sure that they're relatively clean. I will use brake cleaner if I have to get them completely dry. Don't use the red, use the green. Okay, so blue Loctite. That's it. That's how much you need. Put that in there. I'm just going to do an initial, right? Okay, so that's snug. Same thing. Make sure that this is clean. Okay, it's clean. No oils, no lube on it. Okay, blue Loctite. Okay, just snug. Now, I'll set my torque wrench to what I want, which is 55 inch-pounds. All the way up. So I zero this out every time. I bottom it out so that there's no tension whatsoever on the spring in here. It makes them more accurate over a longer period of time. So that's 55 inch-pounds. If you want to look at the instructions, they'll tell you to put the line at the top of the red for your setting. So now I'm going to torque them in place. Okay. Now these are set, not done. In addition to that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here, the Sharpie marker, I'm going to mark these. And I'm going to mark it back here too. And I'll just do it on the edge here like this. Why? Because I have multiple rifles, and quite frankly, I want to make sure that I have at least a marking on here that's telling me what I've set these to. Okay? Then, I'm not done yet. I do a witness mark. Witness marks don't have to be small, okay? They can be big, but you definitely want to make sure that they're in line. So if these screws come loose, I can see it right away. Let me see if I can get this one in there better. There you go. Okay? Now this is set. Now I can let all of that blue Loctite dry. I can let the paint dry. I can let the Sharpie marker dry. You can use paint. I mean, you can use paint just as long as it's good enough to stay on there, right? So now I can see if that screw came loose. And if it comes loose, it's a problem. I know I have to go back and I know what my marking is. I don't have to think about it. This is what a lot of the people in the precision rifle matches are doing. Some of them aren't. Most of them are. These witness marks are pretty important. I know most of the competitive shooters will actually witness mark every one of their screws and their scope ring, the mount, and some of them even do their screws on their mounting system. Most of them use pick rail into the receiver. Why? It tells you immediately what's happening if something's wrong. You can look at it. You can take this off and go, nope, this thing came loose, and you can tighten it up and you can fix it relatively quick instead of having to guess and work through the actual mounting system to figure out what's going on with your optic or what's going on with your stock. All of these things will throw your rounds off, okay? So this is pretty much done. This is not the only one that I do it with. Okay, I do it with all of them. So when I took this stock off the first time, I used, once again, the torque wrench, and I just went up in increments until it popped loose. And it was roughly 43 to 45 inch-pounds. So 45 inch-pounds, and then you can see, let me see if I can get that in there. You can see that there's witness marks in there with the paint, with the Sharpie marker, okay? So I can see if those screws have turned loose. If they have, I know exactly what I have to set it to set them. And these are different than the other ones. Some stocks prefer different weights. I have one stock that the front screw is 65 and the rear screw is 35. That's what it prefers. It's an aluminum chassis with a Bagara action. It's just what it prefers. And it took me a little while to figure out exactly what those were because I never took initial readings off of the screws when I took it apart the first time. That's the key. Mark these once you take them apart, do some reverse increment on this, and figure out what these are popping loose at. Use an educated guess. It's not going to be below 35. It's not going to be above 65. It's going to be somewhere in that area. Then go back and put it back together and confirm that that's what the gun wants. Then you're good. Put your witness marks on there. Let the blue Loctite seize up. And you should be good to go. But I've seen a couple of these come loose this hunting season on people. And it will make you miss. It will make you miss extravagantly. So, fix it.